Well, welcome everybody to Spa-Francorchamps and welcome to the Formula Regional European Championship. And I must say, a time that you wouldn't necessarily expect, given the fact that we never really run a championship, certainly run a race, certainly run a qualifying as late usually as this, but certainly because it is that time of year, it is the 24-hour weekend, Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. We'll be bringing you qualifying here tonight, here on a Thursday at 7:20, and certainly it hasn't been the warmest, and as you can expect, as the night draws in, it gets ever colder. It's overcast at this stage, the sunlight has been peeking through, but we haven't seen too much of it. You can see the clouds there littered above, certainly the grey certainly beginning to show, but now as the timer ticks downwards, it's going to be down to the cars to make their way out onto the track, and certainly many a car out there as well. A very, very busy paddock, as you could expect, given the fact that we have got various championships running this weekend with extensive grids, and FIA is no different. There you can see the teams very, very busy with them making their way down in towards pit lane. Of course, we've got two groups to bring you in this session. This, of course, deciding the qualifying for Saturday's race. We'll then obviously bring you a qualifying session then tomorrow, which will decide Friday's race as well. So plenty of activity out onto the circuit. Obviously, coming into this weekend, Martini Stenshorn has been the feel-good factor, the rookie driver who has come in this year and has cooped up several race wins already. 3 as a matter of fact. Imola in race 1, the very first race of the season, he went ahead and won that. Then following it up with a double at Hungaroring in race 1 and race 2 in emphatic style. 4 podiums as well so far this season. 2 of them obviously coming in Imola as well. Followed up that race win in race 1 with a 2nd place. Then went, of course, to Hungaroring to take those 2 victories as well. So he currently leads the championship, and our race, as a response, are leading the championship as well. Because not only is Martini Stenshorn a 3-time race winner, but they've got Tim Tramnitz here on the grid as well, a 2-time race winner already this season, did the double at Barcelona, and not only that, quickest in the collective tests this morning as well. We, of course, had them testing yesterday, the morning session. That was, of course, where Tramnitz initially went the fastest at that stage. Then, of course, came back to collective test 2 earlier on today and went fastest there as well. The only other car to go fastest in a collective test was that of Rafael Camara, who was driving for the Prema team. So there you can see the cars out on track, getting set for what can only be described as a very, very busy qualifying session. We just caught eye of Tom Leben there making his way through the Pouon section. Of course, former GB3 race winner and contested in that championship as well. Certainly one to watch on his best day. Coming into this one, obviously the title fight is still very much up for grabs. RSGP, of course, currently holding that top spot with 171 points, with Prema only a mere matter of 40 points behind them as well in terms of the team's championship. Martini Stenshorn, though, as I said before, careering away, currently leading the charge. I wouldn't say necessarily careering away. It's still very, very tight, and we're still in the first half of the season. We've got plenty more to come, so sit tight. It's going to be good. Of course, Prema have a great record here at this very circuit. Dino Boganovic, of course, champion from last season, went ahead to obviously take the win in race 1. And Paul Aaron, of course, will go on to take the win in race 2 as well. Dino Boganovic would become also back the year previous in his rookie season, the rookie racing winner as well in race 1, no less, and managed to pull that feat off. And another man to keep an eye on last season, Race 2's victor in the rookie classification, that was Tim Tramnitz. So I tell you what, you never know. It could be the case that Tramnitz could come out on top this weekend once again. There's Martini Stenshorn making his way out of La Source. He's going to get those tyres up to temperature, and it's such a long lap here at Spa as well. Let's talk about the track, because it is a stellar one, a legendary circuit. Of course, we've seen Formula 1 contested here, and certainly these drivers have that ambition on their mind. Broke ground back in the 24th of February 1989, opening in 1921. Can you imagine all that time ago? Plenty of cars have met this circuit. Many legends have been made. Could these be the building blocks for future legends to come? 70,000 capacity here, 20 corners await the drivers, and many overtaking sections as well. A mixture of heavy braking zones, mid-braking zones, not to mention some very fast speed corners too. Highlight the areas such as Pouon, where you can almost downshift and go flat out heading through that segment. Obviously the drivers have to do their best to manage it. It's why tyre temperature is imperative around a circuit such as this. There's Tom Leben representing for Arden as well. As we said, obviously trying to bolster his career so far. Arden themselves down in 9th in the team's championship. they're going to be calling upon all arms to try and raise the points. But as we know, see the cars getting busy. There's Alessandro Giusti as part of G4 Racing. They too currently hold 22 points, having a good, reasonable start to their season. And Giusti actually scoring points in race 1 at Imola as well. Has yet to score since then, but second as a consequence in the rookie standings, but has got quite a way to go to catch that of Martinia Stenshorn. But obviously those being the overall standings we're looking at there as well. But naturally Giusti showing some reasonable pace and securing the decent plethora of points. Certainly there's MP Motorsport currently down in the pit lane. And this alludes back to the fact that we do have, of course, 2 sessions here in qualifying. Group A, we'll go through the runners in Group A. In fact, Martinia Stenshorn, Kaz Havercourt, representing, of course, for Van Amersfoort Racing, Lorenzo Flusha from Prema, Santiago Ramos, also in Group A as well for RPM, Rafael Camara making it a 2-car Prema lineup as well. For the down, Nikhil Bora, as well as part of the Trident team, Lawrence Van Hoopen in this group as well, Matthias Zagazeta, Alessandro Giusti, Marcus Amand, as well as Esteban Masson, as well as Joshua Dirksen, Enzo Scionti, as well as Kirill Schmoll, as well as Lucas Medina, Niels Kuhlen and Tom Leben make up this group. As you can just see them now looking for track position. Now this is imperative as they make their way towards the back, or the last sector. Rounding Blanchimont now, they will meet the bus stop chicane. As you can imagine, obviously warming up the tyres. You don't want to be stagnant for too long. That will cool down the compound. These drivers will have that on their mind. Time management imperative, though many of the drivers in the paddock were talking very candidly about the fact that given that Pirelli rubber is very active out on the track here this weekend, it does help them in terms of the grip. We did speak to a few of them in our Paddock Live show. If you got to see that earlier on, then you can tune into it and obviously get some views from the drivers as we now see the cars make their way in towards the source. And it's the Prema leading the way currently up at the sharp end. Let's see what they can enlist. That, of course, being Rafael Camara making his way now up through towards Eau Rouge and Radion, the very familiar red colours that we've come to expect, certainly here from the Prema team. It's going to make his way up. This section of the track, shall I say, has opened up in recent years as well, so it's a little bit more forgiving than what it was, but no less fast-paced, that's to be sure, as he now makes the climb heading up through towards Les Combes. You'll then have to find and accurately pinpoint his braking point. As we said before, Rafael Camara has a little bit of form coming into the weekend. Fastest in collective test 1. He'll look to carry that on, but look at Martinia Stenshorn immediately taking the purple first sector. He might just have that stolen from him, though. Lawrence Van Hoopen currently fastest in the first sector, 39.9. That's quickly followed by 39.8 by Santiago Ramos. So some of the drivers benefiting from that little bit of slipstream heading up Kemmel Straight. Some using it better than others. Kirill Small now takes the purple first sector. So it's a 39.7. Naturally, it is, you could imagine, a disadvantage to be the lead pack. And you can just see them slowing down now. Rafael Camara bringing it down to a steady speed. Obviously fighting over track position is a very common sight here in Formula Regional. And that's exactly why we, of course, have 2 groups, obviously, in terms of overcrowding. You can't have too many cars out on track, even at a gargantuan circuit such as Spa. 4.352 miles of circuit here around one single lap. So naturally, plenty of these drivers to negotiate, but still, nevertheless, you've got to fight for that track space. We're now seeing them make their way through the middle sector, and they'll then make their way through towards Blanchimont in the final sector as well, leading down towards bus stop. A little flick of the rear there as well, as we see the cars make their way around. Obviously, that'll be dependent on setup. Many of the drivers have just spent time with their teams trying to master plan the right setup. Kirill Small being one of them. Of course, we alluded to him, of course, setting that fastest first sector. Naturally, at this point, with some of the cars slowing down and sort of holding up the grid entirely, they might, well, certainly they will bin off this first lap, and they'll get set for one, well, certainly a next lap, which will hopefully be faster. As we're now seeing Small now fighting for position, dodging traffic heading through bus stop, not content with waiting around. And just look at this, trying to jackknife his way through. There's a little battle as well, 2 cars further up. It looked like that was an RACE GP or an ART further up as well. It certainly is. In fact, it's both of them as they make their way down through towards turn 1 again. And heading out of La Source, already a very, very busy circuit out on track right now as they make the climb, heading up through towards Eau Rouge. And of course, Radion as well. That's Martinia Stenshorn locked in behind there as well. You can just see him now making the climb up through Eau Rouge now. And tackling Radion on the exit. He's going to get a lovely bit of slipstream here, heading up towards Kemmel. And he'll open up the door straight away. And a very handy toe that has been certainly gifted to him at this point. So now hurtle upwards. That's Laurens van Hoopen now fighting for position. And tell you what, it's not racing yet, chaps. This is qualifying. And 47 thousandths improvement there from Martinia Stenshorn in that first sector, which is quite an achievement considering they were fighting for placement. See, naturally fighting over that clean air, and a mixture of dirty air might have got into it as well. Stenshorn now still holding on to that 47 thousandths improvement. I can tell you that Tom Leben has now stolen that purple first sector with a 39.324. And sector 2 currently being held by Alessandro Giusti. But as we now see the cars make their way through, Giusti also holding the purple third sector at this point as well. Kirill Small with the fastest lap to boot with a 2 minute and 16.715 as Tom Leben. There you can see a massive improvement, nearly 4.5 tenths of a second in the first sector alone, gifting him that purple sector. A man who's been looking to try and improve, obviously off the back of a successful time in GB3. He's going to be looking to try and galvanise a performance here in Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. I spoke to him at length prior to this weekend, in previous weekends going by. He was very convinced that they're working, they're trying to find every avenue they can to quicken the pace in the car. Tom Leben tenacious as they come. As I said, P3 and GB3 back in 2022. He's also a 2020 Ginetta Junior champion as well. And showing yet more improvement in Sector 2 as well. 3 tenths plus in Sector 2. We've got 3 minutes and 40 still to go. And that will be certainly the first group that will then come to an end. So it's imperative they get the laps on the board now. Rafael Camara goes fastest. Kaz Havercourt now to the top as well with a purple Sector 3. Laurens van Hoopen fourth fastest as well. Martinia Stenshorn moves into 8th, now down to 10th because more cars are coming through. Masson goes into 6th as well. Leben 5th fastest. Joshua Dirksen, the Paraguayan, up to 4th place as well. Stenshorn down in 13th. Will need a huge lap before the end of this particular session to lift himself up to the top. Now, generally, the second group will benefit because they will have the extra grip, the extra stickiness on the surface, the heated track, given the fact that they've already had a load of cars run out over it already. So they'll try and maximize the use on that. And then when it's roles reversed heading through towards tomorrow's qualifying session, that is when obviously the other group will get the benefits. Now we're seeing side-by-side action already in qualifying. Oh, rubbing onto the curb as well. And you've got to be careful of floor damage here at this point, certainly at that very precarious placement of curb there at Spa-Francorchamps. Certainly when you head through Les Combes, they are raised. Those sausage curbs are not your friend, and naturally they can cause havoc, certainly when it comes to the aero and the balance, should you damage the floor on the car. Martinia Stenshorn now has got to try and recover. As you can see already, out by a 10th of a second on his personal best. He's going to mix his way down through towards Pouon now, fighting with the car as he now maneuvers it away around. You can just see it just elevating slightly, skidding on the exit of Pouon as well. So again, fight for position. Of course, Marcus Amand in this group as well. We just caught shots of him as part of the Sauber Driver Academy. And, back again here this time around as well in that ART. So we see Stenshorn whip through now the final sector very shortly through Campus and Stavolo, using all the throttle as he makes his way down through towards this very fast-paced section. Stenshorn literally trying to find some clean air right now, trying to get himself away from the other cars around him. If you gift a toe, you're essentially giving away a potential superior lap to somebody else. And I can tell you that Rafael Camara has currently gone just over 241 thousandths faster in the second sector, holds the purple lap as well, comes up towards the line, second fastest for Rafael Camara. As the cars make their way down through towards the source, yet again, more cars, more times coming down now as they cross the line. Yet again, Kirill Small in 11th as well. As they all come across, Leben reduced now to 6th fastest, Giusti in 5th. Santiago Ramos currently holds the top time as well, the RPM driver. As I said before, podium scorer as well. RPM in great form at the moment off the back of a successful time at Hungaroring. We'll be very careful of that gravel trap on the right-hand side as well, heading out of La Source. Very easy to get caught up in there. Last season we saw that in action. A few drivers unfortunately taking a dip into that section of circuit and becoming a cropper at that very moment. But there's Ramos, the Mexican, currently sat in first fastest. And what it would mean to RPM to get a big result here, it would be absolutely massive for their championship. Was showing such promise as well at Hungary, as I alluded to. And again, showing all the credentials that he's capable of here this time around as well. His second season in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine for Ramos, as he now heads down through towards Rivage, and he'll try and deep dive down the inside as well. Has found time in that first sector as well, so he could yet improve yet a little bit more. Very nearly a 10th up already in the first sector on what he already managed to achieve as he now makes his way down through towards Puan. You can see more cars there in front as well. Hopefully it doesn't become a nuisance, and certainly the traffic don't hinder him. Maybe he might get a bit of a helping hand heading through the Blanchimont section now. You see the cars make their way through the middle sector again now, so trying to prime themselves for the final echelons here in Group A. It's all down to these drivers now. Everything has to be laid out onto the track. Of course, while it might not give you pole position, given the fact that the track is going to be favourable for Group B, at the same time, you want to be topping your group. Because remember, it gives you that closest spot to the front end, and if you can get a good start, we saw what Tim Tramnitz could do with one at Spa, certainly at Spain, and here at Spa-Francorchamps with the run down through towards La Source, and then on the run up through towards Eau Rouge and Radion, it can mean absolutely everything to your race weekend. As they make their way down now, Matthias Zagazzetta fastest in the second sector as well right now, so showing a great deal of pace and has improved in the first sector as well. Ramos once again improves up at the sharp end too. Kaz Havercourt in third as well. Martinius Stenshorn in fourth, 4/10 behind that of Ramos, who currently holds on to top spot. Zagazzetta improves to 10th. Not enough. He could not galvanize any extra in that final sector. Alessandro Giusti in 6th as well. Kirill Small down to 8th as Tom Leben now moves to 10th off the back of Lorenzo Flusha, who's now 4th fastest as well, just behind Josh Dirksen, who's now managed to get 3rd fastest as well. A sensational result for Joshua Dirksen, the Paraguayan, now in the top 3 here in this qualifying session, and he'll be absolutely delighted with that as well. On his quest for points, and that will certainly help him along the way. And should he get a good launch, I'm sure he'll make the most of it too. He'll be absolutely thrilled with that lap. As we see Matthias Zagazzetta make his way into the pit lane. And off the back of, unfortunately, succumbing to a penalty last time out, it was not an ideal race at all for Zagazzetta. He'd be looking for a bounce back here this race weekend. Let's take a look at the results for the opening group. Group A, Santiago Ramos is your leader, holds on to P1 here in this Group A. Rafael Camara in 2nd, Joshua Dirksen in 3rd, with Lorenzo Flusha in 4th. Kaz Havercourt for Van Amersfoort in 5th place, Martinius Stenshorn in 6th, Alessandro Giusti in 7th, Esteban Masson in 8th as well, with Kirill Small in 9th, Tom Leben in 10th, with Marcus Amund in 11th place, Matthias Zagazzetta in 12th, Lawrence Van Hoopen in 13th, Nikhil Bora Petriden in 14th, Enzo Scianti in 15th, Niels Kuhlen in 16th, with Lucas Medina in 17th place. So there we have it. Santiago Ramos, with a blissful display, manages to consolidate his position at the top of Group A, and now it's down to Group B to certainly see what they can muster here in this grid order. Now, for the rundown for this group, of course, we have got Andrea Kimi Antonelli coming back, still chasing a first race win this season, and we'll see what he can deliver. But let's take a little look at the highlights from the Group A session. There was plenty to look at, and even some racing action in qualifying as well. Many of the cars helter-skelter in their way out of the pit lane. Certainly the story was Santiago Ramos, but a lot happened before the end of that. Of course, we witnessed Tom Leben finding some really strong pace at the very start. Alessandro Giusti as well, looking very, very confident behind the car. But it would be the RPM of Ramos who certainly delivered in an abundance as well. Made his way out certainly of many of the corners, but this moment was also special as well. We spoke about the curves. The car elevated off the track, and certainly a panic moment for Kirill Small in that instance. It was certainly helter-skelter all across the circuit. Drivers trying to break that slipstream, certainly heading through some of the straights, as we see there the reactions from some of the drivers as they fought for clean air. So there we are, thumbs up, certainly for Santiago Ramos. He'll be absolutely thrilled with that result. But now he's got to wait and watch on. It's out of his hands at this point as to the fight for pole position. But as we alluded to, there is obviously that preferential track temperature going to that of the next group of cars. But nevertheless, something to celebrate for RPM. It says a lot about yourself as a driver if you go fastest in your group, and Santiago Ramos proving that in such rude style as well. But incoming now, the Group B session, and we'll deliver it to you now as well. We just caught sight of Michael Belov's car as we now see the Trident car make its way out onto the track as well. And they themselves will be looking for a very busy weekend too. MP Motorsport in an abundance, 3 cars making their way out onto the circuit for this session. A great chance for them, maybe some inter-team play, who knows? Obviously these drivers still chasing for individual honours. We just saw Andrea Kimi Antonelli in the background shot as well, managing to achieve some serious results this season, but is still chasing that first win. We spoke about the 3 podiums, 3 second places, had every chance to get his first race win at Barcelona, but had it certainly hampered him when Tim Tramnitz managed to overcut him. And just to talk you through the way the grid works, folks, obviously the average fastest time, certainly the top time in qualifying, whichever group it may be, the fastest group, they qualify on pole. That pole sitter, the top time, he will be on pole. And then, of course, the grid will follow as is in behind as well and consolidate either side of the grid as well. So if you're on the pole side and you're the fastest group, you've got the pole side of the track. The other side then is reserved for the other side of the track, for the other group on the other side of the track as well. So there you go. That is certainly the format when it comes to qualifying. Of course, they alternate the sessions to make sure that every group has the same advantages as well, with that being the better, hotter track to obviously maintain the grip in the tyres. So as we now see the cars fight for position, very much like we saw from Group A earlier on as well. It's now down to these, and we can just see there that RPM just is equally well stocked here in this lineup too. Of course, we've got the likes of Adam Fitzgerald, Matteo Capietto as well as Santiago Ramos, who went fastest last time out. And Fitzgerald, part of this group as well. And Capietto also is going to be looking for a strong showing, to say the least. And RPM, of course, it certainly has been a sort of a miracle story. You know, the team that was founded in Ireland as well has made its way over here to Spa, and competing at the highest level, achieving some really strong results as well. 4th in the championship in the team's classification, and most wins and podiums in the F4 Academy in 2021 as well for Matteo Capietto. So he brings a lot of form and a lot of pedigree here to the team as well. We'll have to see what he can deliver here at Spa-Francorchamps, as we now see the Trident make its way around the track as well. That's Roman Belinsky, back for his 2nd season with Trident. And he'll be chasing some big honours, but coming into the pit lane, so very likely could be an issue. Just see him there in the corner of shot, just making his way down the pit lane straight. And we now see the cars now once again trying to spin the tyres, trying to generate some heat. Now, is there an issue here for Roman Belinsky as he now makes his way through? Is he just driving through the pit lane, maybe to try and secure some clean air? Not quite sure. He's driving straight through the pit lane. I haven't seen him come out anyway just yet, but we will keep you posted, folks. We now see the cars make their way through towards Eau Rouge and Rayon once again. Of course, 10 minutes and 55 seconds to bring you now. And there you can see leader of the pack. The man who is still chasing to be the leader of the pack at this stage is Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who, despite not achieving his first race win, has been one of the most consistent drivers on this grid. Be looking for some big results. I can tell you that Roman Belinsky's car, in accordance to our track map, has stopped in the pit lane, so we haven't seen him move just yet. Hopefully it's not a terminal issue and he will make his way back out onto the track, but we will keep you posted, folks. I can see there is some movement now and he is actually exiting, so they have managed to recover whatever the issue is, and they're going to send him out just to see how he gets on. Hopefully it's all positive. We can just see Michael Belov as well, who's already making his way through Sector 3. He'll be looking to obviously achieve a lap himself as well, but leading the pack is certainly Andrea Kimi Antonelli. There's Belinsky's car, as you can see on your screen now, making his way up through towards Les Combes. He'll prep the tyres and get ready for his fast runs. But the benefits that he does have, while he doesn't have necessarily slipstream, he's not giving a slipstream to anyone else. So having that clear track space might prove useful for Roman Belinsky. We'll have to check out his sector times, and we'll see what it can generate for him here. 9 minutes and 40 to go. So we catch a sight of the MP Motorsport team as well. 3 cars represented in this session. Sammy Megatoon, Delano Van Toff, as well as Victor Bernier. Some very experienced names in amongst this grid order. Of course, racing last season, many of them, and also competing at the highest level too. Third season in FIA as well for Sami Megatunov. Was a rookie race winner in race 1 back in 2022 as well. So does carry as well a little bit of form coming into this one, and has certainly delivered a very promising season as well. Scored 15 points at Barcelona, 6 points at Hungaroring. Never write off Sami Megatunov. Of course, the Frenchman will have every chance to do it here in Belgium. There's Antonelli heading through La Source as well. Multi-champion as well. Such a rich pedigree here in this championship. Many bidding him to become a future F1 driver for sure. Has the full backing of the Mercedes Driver Academy. And his accolades certainly do speak volumes for Andrea Kimi Antonelli as he flies through Rouge and Rayon in the Prema team as well, that have brought success to many of its predecessors, the likes of Dino Boganovic, who has since gone on to compete in the world of Formula 3. Of course, Kimi Antonelli will also have that on his mind as well. You know, see him making his way through towards Les Combes, and as you can see, the time starting to enrich us now. Obviously, the previous lap not necessarily a banker. Should we say this will be the initial laps that we see nestled in by the drivers. The MP Motorsport car in behind that of Antonelli as well. That's Sami Megatunov, as I said, last year's rookie race winner in race 1. They now head down now towards the very, very fast left-hander at Pouon as well. Antonelli emblazoned in car number 12. Looking to try and set a very, very fast time. Delano van 't Hoft going purple in the first sector as well, so goes faster than Antonelli here at the get-go here. Obviously now we've got the second sector to come, so obviously Antonelli not being fed a slipstream at all. He's doing this all off his own back. He's not really carrying anyone else either with him, so he's got clean air at this moment in time. Just enough space between him and Sami Megatunov at this point as he now whips through this next right-hander as well. And as you'd expect, purple, but it's immediately snatched away, heading through the second sector by Sami Megatunov. So he is finding that little bit, is Megatunov, as they now make their way through towards Blanchimont and the descent towards the bus stop chicane. And certainly now, Antonelli, we'll see what time he can muster up on the board and get us underway here in Group B. Of course, this group will have those advantages, as I said. Remember this qualifying grid to tee up Saturday's race. Then we'll have another qualifying session tomorrow to dictate as to what happens in terms of race 1. As now we're seeing Antonelli cross the line now and immediately sets a 2:16.164. More times coming in as well. Hadrian David on return as well. We need to talk about him too. Tramnitz goes to the top as he has done in the previous collective test sessions. He is now up on the sharp end, faster than Andrea Kimi Antonelli by over 0.4 of a second. Delano van 't Hoft, despite being purple in the first sector, remains 13th fastest, but a sensational run from Tim Tramnitz. Purple sector 2, purple sector 3, Tramnitz on top of the 2:15.748, and the sole man in the 2:15s as well. A statement of intent from the man who won the rookie race last season in 2022 in race 2 as well, and Tramnitz might be here to deliver yet more accolades here for RHGP. Joined the team after running a season with Trident last year, showed a lot of promise, as I said before, and now behind a team such as R-Race that has brought the likes of Gabriel Bortoletto, Gabriele Mini as well, fighting up at the sharp end, and certainly Tramnitz being part of this contingent now will certainly look to try and deliver a huge plethora of points. 2/10 up already now in that first sector. The driver that, of course, would set the collective Test 2 fastest time earlier on today, not to mention the morning test yesterday as well. He is certainly a man on a mission and looking to try and achieve great things as well for RHGP as he now peels through the middle sector as well. So it's Tramnitz up at the head of the field, a 39.718 in the first sector. Michael Belov has come across sector 2, set a 1:00.519. Sector 3 time 35.780. Antonelli now fastest in the second sector as well, and well surpassed the likes of Sami Megatunov, who stole it from him in the previous lap, or at least attempted to, until Tramnitz came along and then took it away from both of them. As we now see the cars come through the latter sector now, Antonelli now holds on and still holds on to that purple sector 2 time. It's not quite enough just yet though to achieve, should we say, a P1 ahead of that of Tim Tramnitz. Tramnitz still has that advantage as we now see Antonelli make his way out of bus stop now, heading up towards the line. Is it enough? It will be an improvement. I think vaguely he lost 0.02 of a second in that final sector. It's still out by 0.4. Capietto goes third fastest as well. Stunning lap for him as Delano Van 't Hoff goes up a few places as well. Maya Weyug into fifth fastest as well, ahead of Megatunif, who is now sixth. Michael Belov in seventh as well. Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. in 14th as well, just behind Levente Revej, with Roman Belinsky in 12th place too. But I tell you what, Tramnet's controlling the front end and still holds on to that purple sector 3 as well, at 35.370. His last lap at 2:15.358, and while we've seen the top 3 drivers get into the 2:15s, none of them can get close to Tim Tramnet. There's Roman Belinsky, who unfortunately having a poor first couple of sectors, looking to try and recover. He knows what he's capable of. He is a very talented young man, very determined young man, that can certainly galvanise performance out of the Trident as he makes his way out to turn 1 now at La Source and makes the climb up through towards Eau Rouge and Radion. Of course, Roman Belinsky has been a stern competitor and has given much, certainly, to his team. Obviously, this being his second season in FIA, representing the Trident team. Just hear a squeal there of the tyres as we now see Michael Belov making his way around the final corner as well. Improvement in the second sector. He is green, but heading up towards the line. It's under a second. 7th fastest now, still behind Sami Megatunif. And makes his way down through towards turn 1 at La Source as well. But still Tramnet's untouched at the top at this stage. And we're coming down now to the final moments. The final 3 minutes, we're well within them. 2 minutes and 40 still to go, as the cars now make the ascent up through towards Eau Rouge and of course Radion as well. Nevertheless, it's Tramnet who currently spearheads the way. Antonelli in second, needs to find a massive just over 4/10, with Capietto in third as well, and he's not improving in the first 2 sectors. So you can just see now the tyres getting warmed up for the cars behind. Many of them might be using this as a cool-down lap, maybe just getting themselves prepared for one final last chance to dance. Let's wait and see who's going to get it. There's Sami Megatunif now, currently sits in P6. Further up there you can see Maya Weyug as well, but Megatunif still following Antonelli, who's currently sat in second. Still the 4/10 gap evades P1 for Antonelli at this stage, despite achieving pole promise in Barcelona, getting headhunted by Tramnet from the word go. Tramnet's defended the top spot brilliantly at the get-go at Barcelona, managed to hold off the relentless Andrea Kimi Antonelli, and has done so and galvanised 2 race wins out of that as well, as we now see the RPM car make its way up through towards Eau Rouge and Radion as well. They're of course looking to try and achieve big things yet again as well, after seeing Santiago Ramos deliver what he certainly did. It's all down to Matteo Capietto and Adam Fitzgerald now here at this stage. Capietto currently sat in 3rd fastest as well. There's Tramnet right behind him as well. RHGP looking to plumb for a big result here at Spa, and what it would mean to do it here once again like he did in his rookie campaign last season, where he achieved the rookie race win. Seems to be a constant flow that you see the rookie winners from the season prior all of a sudden take the helm the following year. The likes of Bogdanovic did it. Gabriele Mini was competitive last year as well, despite having his issues. But certainly that will live wholesomely in the mind of the likes of Tim Tramnet. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, despite being in his, should we say, classified as his first year in Formula Regional, obviously has competed in single-seaters on many an occasion. A very experienced driver for such a young age as well. Italian F4, German F4 22 champion, and OK Senior European champion as well. 2023 Fremik, 2021 and 2020 champion in OK Senior European Championship as well, but a 2023 Fremik champion, so he's used to these kinds of cars and certainly can contend with the very best of them. Loses a bit of time though in the second sector, and that won't help him in his pursuit for Tramnet. So the timer is now ticked to 0, so certainly Antonelli out of luck here at this point, out of time to unleash Certainly a big major blow to that of Tim Tramnitz. He makes his way through the bus stop chicane. What can Antonelli deliver here at this very late stage now as he heads up towards the line? Is it enough to stop Tramnitz? Heads up through now. No, it's not. Certainly Tramnitz will cross the line. Remains first fastest. No change at the very top. As now we see more cars cross. No movements at all in the timing tower, despite Adam Fitzgerald setting the fastest first sector. A couple of movements there as well. Fitzgerald 13th fastest. Meerwayug still 5th fastest as well. Still ahead of Megatunis. Some movements. Emerson Fittipaldi 14th. Partyshev now 15th as well. Belinsky still remains 12th. It has been certainly an eclectic qualifying, but no major changes up at the sharp end. It's Tim Tramnitz, the fastest man here in this session in Group B. A sensational result, and certainly to topple Antonelli exactly, well not quite exactly like he did in Barcelona, but it's one way to do it. To qualify ahead of him here, and certainly at this stage, will certainly tee up a very exciting prospect for the race as well that's coming up on Saturday. We've got another car making its way through as well as they head down through towards the bus stop. This being, of course, Roman Belinsky, who has shown improvements in the first and second sector, will come up towards the line, currently 12th fastest at this stage, and will remain there as well, despite the improvement at this point. But a tremendous effort from him. Still qualified ahead of Adam Fitzgerald as well. Michael Belov as well, still out on track, lost time in the second sector, and manages to move up to P6, goes ahead of Sami Megatuniv as well, so a great lap from him. Mashkio goes ahead of Ravesh as well for that 16th place, and stays there too, and that will no doubt bring an end to the session. The last of the cars now making their way into the pits. Fantastic display from all involved. We've seen such a very feisty display from certainly some of the best in this championship. Tramnitz though delivering exactly what his team would have wanted, making the move all the way from Trident to RACE GP, and they have found that winning formula for him as well. And we will be bringing the results to you now as well, folks. So here we go. Tim Tramnitz, your fastest man here in Group B, with Andrea Kimi Antonelli in second as well. Matteo Capietto in third as well, with Hadrian David in fourth, with Maya Weyug in fifth as well. Micah Belov in sixth, with Sami Megatuniv in 7th, with Victor Bernier in 8th as well. Josh Dufek in 9th place, Delano Vance Hoff in 10th, Owen Tangavelu in 11th place, with Roman Belinsky in 12th, Adam Fitzgerald in 13th, with Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. in 14th place as well. Further down then we have Alexander Partyshev in 15th, with Giovanni Mashkio in 16th, Levente Ravesh finishing last of those runners. And we have some highlights to bring you as well, folks, from that very busy session. It certainly was fantastic. And I can tell you that certainly the provisional pole has actually gone to Santiago Ramos. So incredible for Group A, a 2:15.453. So that has in fact been trumped by Tim Tramnitz. Here are the highlights. The MP Motorsport team certainly were watching on the C3 drivers whether they could contest at the top. Emerson Fittipaldi was also challenging too up at the sharp end. But the RPM Motorsport team, after watching that of Ramos certainly delivering what he did in the first group, wasn't able to do anything similar in the second group. But it was all day, every day, Tim Tramnitz, the fastest man in Group B. And there you see it, folks. The live feed certainly showing the drivers in the pit lane and giving us certainly plenty of results, certainly for some of the drivers up at the sharp end. The team certainly will reassess now as we look to go into qualifying again tomorrow. Plenty more to come as we now look to see who is going to come out on top here at Spa-Francorchamps. Obviously, we're looking ahead now. Who's it going to be? Will Tramnitz hold on? He has got pole position ahead of Santiago Ramos, and we'll look forward to seeing you later on when we go racing here at Spa-Francorchamps. We'll see you then. As we now see, obviously, the cars still in the pits, reassess him. But naturally now, as we look ahead to go racing, folks, I hope you will join us and tune in for when we go racing here at Spa. Obviously, Tim Tramnitz on pole, as I said, ahead of Santiago Ramos. That is your front row for when we go racing. I hope you will join us. We'll see you when we go racing on Saturday. Join us for qualifying tomorrow as well.